Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Investor Connection. Today, I'm talking about getting rich slow. I think cryptocurrency and all these different coins we all been investing in and seeing quick returns has us a little bit outside of the norm on how people actually, build wealth. And it's slow and it takes time, right? So what I'm trying to do today is start looking at how we can do that together by keeping each other up on what we think we should be investing in, talking it out, discussing it. So I'm of course live. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. It's not letting me go live on Facebook, but um, I'm going live on Clubhouse, which if you want to have a discussion and talk it out, go on Clubhouse. If you want to just type your questions and your hot picks. Put that in Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Today, I don't know what's going on Facebook. So today, basically, of course, where I start out is crypto. Crypto has the biggest returns on investment in history so far, right? So of course, most people start there. Most people think, all right, how can I make the most money the fastest in crypto? And this week, the ups and downs of crypto were a little bit boring, right? It's kind of getting to this boring state of there's not big jumps, there's not big drops. And that's where the stock market currently is, right? And that's where most people will tell you that's a way to build true wealth, right? But if you look at, you know, most millionaires and billionaires, a lot of them have started out through real estate, right? So this is where like I'm trying to get back to that understanding of nice to see you, Miguel. I'm following you in here. Dublin, what's up? So I did a speech in Dublin years ago, and I was supposed to do one again last year, but COVID hit. So I still got people checking me out in Dublin. Thank you. So basically, when I think about like this whole getting rich quick scheme kind of idea of where I think most people are looking at crypto and thinking this might be my way of making quick money. And then you see what's going on right now, which is like the market is pretty boring, right? If you're in crypto to make a big jump and make a big amount of money quickly, it's probably not going to happen right now. And who knows if we are in what's called a bear market, which I made my last video was about that. So what I've been looking at this week is, okay, what are some strategies to work with people on and with to gain wealth slow, right? So one of the first was, all right, what if this is the current crypto market for the next 4 years? What is a way? How do you get in the chat? Clubhouse, Stone. I'm not sure if you're on Clubhouse, but in my link in bio, you can click the Clubhouse link, and you could jump on the conversation. If you want to just chat, you could chat here or YouTube. I mean, you're on Instagram Live, but you could do YouTube too. And I'm on Twitter and Twitch if you use those. Facebook, for some reason, I don't know what's going on. So basically, if you think about how will you start to make money slow in this environment if crypto is right here and it stays here, right? And what I think about, and Stone is one of the Cracking Crypto Club members, one of our newest members. When you think about crypto, one of the things I'm teaching in that environment is how to watch for the downs, buy for the downs, and sell a little bit on the ups, right? So if you think about it, crypto, it can be an all or nothing game for most people, right? Like people buy Dogecoin and say, all right, to the moon, gets there, I'm good. If it gets to $1 and I own however many, I'm good. Shiba, I put money in here, I get 1,000,000 coins, and if it gets to $1, I have $1,000,000, right? But I'm just gonna wait till it gets to $1,000,000. Most likely, it probably won't. If it ever does, it will be many, many years from now. So how do you, don't forget that channel. I'm seeing you on LinkedIn. Don't forget. Oh yeah, LinkedIn. You're right. Actually, LinkedIn is a good place to be. Definitely connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to connect, business wise, for sure. Thank you. So basically, if you think about that same model of riding these waves, when they go down, you buy. When they go up, you sell a little bit, not sell the whole thing, right? That could be a way of generating income, right? And of course, people worry about, oh, but then I'm gonna have to pay taxes, right? And the big thing about that is if you generate income through that system, again, I'm not a financial advisor, consult your accountant and a financial advisor, you pay taxes, but the taxes are the same type of taxes as if you had a job. So it doesn't make sense not to do it unless you really, really do not need to do it, right? So if you think about it and you say, hey, I can just leave my crypto in that environment and not touch it, then you can do that and do it. So Milan, what's up? Moody, what's up? I shout out the people in the Instagram, I mean in the Clubhouse, because they can actually have conversations. And Andrew, what's up? And all right, so based off what I just said, what are you seeing this week? Anybody in Clubhouse? Andrew, Moody, Milan, what are you seeing this week in the crypto market that excites you? I'm also going to talk about the real estate market, the stock market, and then I'm even going to talk about things that I believe we all should be paying attention to, and maybe even starting to think about how we create some of them. So any questions or comments from anybody on Clubhouse, let me know. Anybody on LinkedIn? All right, go ahead, Milan.
I like the metaverses that I've been hearing about that are being built.
Which ones?
Different things going on in them. So Matic and Polygon right now, they're doing stuff with Decentraland, right?
Yep, I heard about that.
They also released their protocol onto OpenSea, so now you can mint NFTs cheaper. So I think paying attention to Matic right now is definitely a big deal.
Yes, and this is one of the major reasons when I told you guys about Matic months ago, it was because I knew all this was coming. And once you walk into the matrix, like me and people like me and Milan do, and I think Andrew, Moody, I think you guys do too. Where I mean, it's like you go and you create your own MetaMask wallet, and you go on to decentralized exchanges, you borrow, you yield farm, all that crazy cool stuff that we talk about in cracking.crypto.club. So join that if you're interested in learning how to be in the matrix. Those things are pretty expensive on the Ethereum market, on the Ethereum network, right? Because of something called gas fees. If you don't know what gas fees are, really quickly, it's the cost it takes for people to write information on the Ethereum blockchain. So the gas fee on Ethereum is high. On Matic, it's less than a penny. I think they say it takes 10,000 transactions to spend $1. So once I understood that, and I understood all of the partnerships that they were starting to create, it's almost a no-brainer that most people don't end up using Matic, at least until Ethereum solves some of their gas fee problem. I believe mostly because of Mark Cuban's investment, and this is where I'm going to go into some of that too, that it's going to be around for a while. When you invest in a startup, you don't expect your money back in a year. You expect to have your money in that company as a shareholder, not a stock trader, for 7 to 10 years before you get a return. That's how technology startups work. If you invest in a technology startup, you don't expect your money back really fast. You understand it takes 7 to 10 years before you realistically get a return. So Mark Cuban last week invested in Matic, right? So what does that mean? He believes 7 to 10 years this thing will still be around and most likely still be cheaper than Ethereum on the gas fee, right? Because that is their main selling point, at least right now. So when I see all those pieces, that's why when most people ask me what should they be buying, I tell them the main three that I'm buying are Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Matic. But I buy wrapped Bitcoin because I do stuff with the Bitcoin. And this is where you got to do your own research about whether you want to do stuff like that or not. There's some people that don't like touching their Bitcoin. They just like buying Bitcoin, putting it on a treasure or one of those like cold wallets and storing it away and waiting till it reaches $1 million a coin. And that could take 20 years, 30 years, who knows, 2-3 years, who knows, right? So That's where, and what Milan is bringing up with the metaverses is metaverses are like new worlds popping up, but in the digital realm. So what does that mean? That means that you could buy prime real estate right now in maybe places of the future that will get trafficked more than Times Square. So imagine if you bought a piece of land in a place online. Let's say he brought up Decentraland. Decentraland right now is one of the most popular metaverses. So one day, let's say millions of people per second are in Decentraland, and you have a storefront there. You're going to be in a very good position, right? So right now, this is starting to happen. People are understanding that this is coming, and there's starting to be a real estate boom in these metaverses. And there's new metaverses popping up. Of course, we're so early, nobody really knows which is going to be the biggest, heavily trafficked metaverse. So this is where you kind of have to make your gambles, right? Me and Milan were talking about it a few months ago. He was telling me about Decentraland. I looked. The land was like $3,000. I was like, ugh, that's kind of a lot. I don't know. I'll wait till it goes lower. Never went lower. Last time I looked, which was a while ago, I haven't looked in a while, but it was like $9,000 for the same piece of land I would have bought for $3,000 months ago. I think it was like in a month, it went up to $9,000 from $3,000. So, of course I should have done that, right? You think back and you're like, but that's the problem, right? You can't go back. You have to make your financial decision, understand the information, and decide to put your money in certain places and live with the results, right? That's why I say I'm not your financial advisor, and do your own research, because of course now I wish I would have done a little bit more research. I knew about metaverses. I knew about the whole scenario. I just didn't think that price was good, but it was, and I didn't understand that, right? And that's where, if I was really into the space like Milan is talking about, I should have dove a little deeper to understand Decentraland's opportunity, and that $3,000 would have been worth 3x at minimum. I don't even know. It may be higher now. I don't know. Milan, what are you looking at currently? Like, is it a lot higher than when we were looking last time? What's the average cost of one piece of land?
Last time I looked, it was like 12,000.
See, 12,000. So 4 times more than when I saw it.
Closer to Central, obviously the Central is the place where you start off. So closer to that, it's like I've seen over 100K, closer to 200.
See, so look at that. But I wasn't looking that close. So what he's talking about, there's like a place when you go on Decentraland. I think you just go to decentraland.com. It's pretty cool. It works on a browser. Eventually, I think they're gonna have virtual reality glasses, or they may already actually. So you go, and when you land in like the Times Square, where everyone lands there, and then you walk into the metaverse. So that area is the hottest area, so things cost more, right? And as you go further out from that area, things cost less. I wasn't looking that close to it, because even back then it was a lot. But there's already big companies, Atari. There's even a casino in Decentraland where you can make actual money. And I did buy that token though. I bought Decentraland Games, or I think it's called Decentraland Games. Yeah, that token, I bought it because I believe once this pops off, people are gonna gamble. So I own some of that real estate by owning a share in that casino, right? That's kind of crazy. Like, how often do you get to own a part of a casino, right? So this is where I'm telling you, like, these little decisions here and there, none of them are going to make me rich instantly, right? But understanding these little pieces. And then we talk about virtual real estate, then I talk about real estate, right? Like when I think I told you guys the story about this guy that I knew that had $1.5 million of Ethereum, because when it was at its height, he was at 4,000 a coin. He had bought it when it was a lot less. So he had $1.5 million. Through decentralized finance, you're able to borrow off of your crypto. So what did he do? He borrowed $500,000 from his 1.5 million, which sounds safe, right? 1.5 million, 500,000. It doesn't seem like you're at risk of your loan being called. He took that 500,000, bought a property in Mexico. Now he's making residual income off that property. What happened though? The crash came, hit low. His value of his loan matched his collateral, and they took his $1.5 million worth of Ethereum, because at that moment it was only worth 500,000 and he had borrowed it already. So unless he would have put more money in, which maybe he just didn't see it, he lost his $1.5 million worth of Ethereum. But at least he has a physical property now. This is where I'm starting to think about strategies. Like, if you make money with your crypto, have a plan of how you take gains. So right now, my current strategy I'm thinking through and figuring out and trying to figure out how to implement, and I started actually doing it already last night, is I'm looking at when the price is down. I'm not trying to be a day trader, so I'm not going to look at it all day. I look every day and I see if overall the price is down. If it's down, I can either put in new money to buy it, or I can borrow against my already collateral that's in the system, buy a little bit. It goes up, sell a percentage of it. Anytime it goes up, sell a percentage of it. You make that percentage up in your own mind. But my idea is, let's say I do the math and I'm taking out 10% every time it goes up, 10% of the gain. So let's say I put in $100 and then in 2 days it's worth $120. I take out $2 and I make that $2 USDC. Yes, I will have to pay taxes on that $2 though. Like if I made $2, just like if someone hired me for a job that I went into and I did a regular job, I got to pay taxes. So if I did that over time, every time I do this, every day, but imagine that's $100. Imagine doing that with $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, and it adds up. And at the end of the year, you make an extra $20,000 doing this. You could either take that $20,000 out and use it. You're going to have to pay taxes on it, so you got to have some there ready to pay that taxes. Or you can reinvest it, right? So again, if, let's say, again, make the math easy, I put $100 in a few days, it's 120. I take out the 2, things come down again, buy back with those $2, right? And now I get more coins for money that I didn't really have. I continue to do that over time. And this is where I talk about the get rich slow, right? Like, this is how there's a term, they say it, you can look it up. In bull markets, people make money. In bear markets, people get rich, because bear markets last longer. But if you have a good strategy for bear markets, where the market is not moving as much as in bull markets, you will make money slow. And then when the bull markets come, all that money compounds, right? Because if every day I'm accumulating more stock or coins or real estate in a bull market, in a bear market, when a bull market comes, all of those value, all those shares, all those coins, all that property will go up in value, right? So part of where I'm looking right now is, okay, how do you diversify? How do you create a strategy of diversification? And it starts there with the low, buying and understanding that low. So I showed you guys, and if you want, I'll show it again, the whole MACD trading view, right? So now I have the app on my phone, Trading View, and every day I just look, and if I see the red bar, dark red bar on a coin that I believe is going to go up in value over time, and I can borrow off of, this is a very crucial part of my current strategy. I am trying to create my own crypto bank. And again, link in bio, I'm helping people do that, because I believe that is the best scenario, right? Best case scenario is I have collateral that I can borrow off of myself anytime I want, pay it back whenever I want, use it however I want. Of course, there's a lot to that, and that's why we do cracking.crypto.club. But if you understand what I'm talking about, and I've mentioned it, I could tell you the steps right here. That means buying Ethereum, Matic, and you can do it with Bitcoin too, but you can't buy Bitcoin. You have to buy wrapped Bitcoin. So by doing that, you can send your coins to the Matic network. Matic network, Polygon network, you pay less than a penny for any transaction you do. What can you do after that? You can put your money, your coins, you can put actual USDC, which is like dollars. You can put Ethereum, you can put Matic, you can put wrap Bitcoin on aave.com, AAVE.com. You go there, you log into the Polygon network, and now you can start with creating you by putting your coins on Aave, you have started your own bank. It sounds easy, of course. Once you go through it, it's a little scary because it's money. So that's where people want a little more handholding. But once you do that, you can borrow off of yourself in seconds for less than a penny. So I've literally created wallets where with less than $100, I've created my own crypto bank. So it's not like you need millions of dollars. You need, even thousands of dollars. I started with $100 just to show the people in the course and the community, you don't need to start with a lot, right? And there's extra on top of that, right? I'm just talking about Aave.com. There's new websites coming up every day. There's another one that's pretty popular called Curve.finance. Curve.finance gives you interest in USDC, which is like dollars. So if you let's say you put $100 in Curve Finance, they basically give you interest. I think the last time I looked, which was yesterday, was 7% interest on USDC. Think about your regular bank. Regular banks do not give 7% interest, right? So this decentralized finance website, curve.fi, gives you 7% of USDC. But because right now Matic is growing in popularity and they want more people using and staking their coins, Matic on the website is giving you, last time I think it was 20% in Matic. So think about this. We all, or maybe we don't, we understand inflation is coming. Curve is a little confusing to do. I tried yesterday. Stone, I got you. You part of the cracking crypto. You're gonna have it. But yeah, basically the key is you got to have USDC and you got to know where to click. The interface is kind of like 1970s computer stuff. That's the problem with this whole scenario with this decentralized finance right now. It's created by coders. It's not made for the general public just yet. But that is a huge opportunity because while it's created like this, and I've seen this multiple times, in the beginning, the people creating it are not designers a lot of times. They are mostly coders, and they code things that they know their own people are going to understand. Eventually, it will get to the point where your grandfather could just click 3 buttons and take out a loan. We're not there. We're far from there. But while we are far from there, that's the opportunity to make a lot of money, right? Because when it gets easy, everybody's going to do it. So the interest rates are going to come down. So right now, Curve Finance is giving 7% and 20% in Matic a day. I mean, a year, but you get it every day. You literally every second of the day. You can literally click and receive your money as often as you want. Once anybody can do that, then they can be like, all right, we only give it 1%. The bank is giving you 0.15 or point whatever. I don't even know. I don't even do it anymore because I put all my money in stuff like this because I think it's just crazy to keep like maintaining a system that is already obsolete, in my opinion. When you work in this environment, you will quickly see that it's like, whoa, what are we doing? Andrew, you got a comment?
Yeah. You keep saying that you're not a financial advisor. How do you become a financial advisor?
Good question. I hear you have to take a bunch of courses and then this test. Might be worth doing. I don't know. I've actually seen people that have done it because they're on YouTube and they don't want to say that anymore. Why, you gonna do it, Andrew? Let me know if you find one.
The series, so it's FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA. that issues these tests.
Oh yeah.
And they oversee the financial industry, and it's mostly in the United States. And most of the people in the financial industry, if they'd like to become a financial advisor and provide financial advice, which most of this is, Miguel. Like,
yeah, I know.
Advice, you know?
I'm just telling you things that I see, though. I can't tell you.
Absolutely, you know, but the tests that they take, the popular ones, I haven't taken them, are the Series 7 and the Series 66, which is a comprehensive test.
I've heard of that one. I've heard of these. Yeah, I guess when you work at banks at a certain level, they force you to take those, right? That makes sense. I've heard that.
Yeah, and I don't know whether or not FINRA will extend to the crypto market. You know,
it probably is going to have to. It probably is going to have to. Because basically right now, what they're trying to figure out from the government's point of view is how do they get their cut? And right now, they're treating crypto kind of like they treat houses, right? So if you sell your house, you have to pay capital gains, right? But if you use $1, you don't have to pay capital gains, so you're more likely to use $1 to make a transaction. People want to use Bitcoin, but if you know every time you use Bitcoin, you have to pay taxes on the money you're spending, that, you know, and of course you pay tax on something when you buy it for $1 too, but that tax comes in the form of the product charging you the tax, not the government later is going to say, okay, you spent $100,000 this year in cash, so you owe us $30,000. Can I have that $30,000 right now? Which is what would happen if you spent $100,000 in Bitcoin. They're going to be like, all right, you spent this $100,000, you owe us this. So again, you know why Andrew's bringing up the financial advisor, because I know a lot of what I'm talking about is financial advice in a way. I'm just telling you what I'm doing, but I got to say that I'm not a financial advisor because there's legal rules out here that say you could take my information and be like, well, Miguel said I should do this. And it's like, I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you all these things I'm seeing and I'm doing. So, all right, there's some questions on Instagram. Okay, so what is staking? Staking is the process of keeping the coins you own on a specific exchange or website, for lack of a better term, so they can use those coins to do whatever they want to for their own benefit as a business. Some exchanges borrow that money out, lend that money out, and then they make interest on it, so they give you a percentage of that, right? So imagine if I told you, lend me your crypto. Let's say you lend me 1,000, and I know I can lend it to somebody, and they're going to give me 50% interest. Let's just make the math easy. Then I say, hey, I can give you 25% interest. And you're like, whoa, I can't get that type of interest anywhere. So sure, right? So that's one of the reasons they do that, is to do that. So Aave.com, that's the reason they do it. They want you to put as much of your coins on their platform so they can lend them out. That's exactly what banks do, right? The reason banks give you that interest every month is because they're lending your money out, and they're making way more, and they're giving you 0.01% interest a month on that cash that you have in the bank. Of course, they're making a lot more. But now, if there's, and this is where I really love this subject, is because as a person that works in innovation, startups, technology, every industry is getting disrupted. But one of the biggest industries that needs to get disrupted is the financial industry, right? Because it's been so disparaging for certain people, right? Like certain people get to take advantage of it, certain people don't. So decentralized finance is coming for their neck. And I cannot see how they don't chop it off other than through dirty tricks. And they're already kind of doing them. But I don't see how over time decentralized finance doesn't win. When you look at everything it's doing, how they're doing it, it's just a matter of time. How long, I don't know, but I'm going to be in the game as early as possible to support the movement. That's why I suggest you all be in even by owning Bitcoin, you're supporting the movement. Hold on, there's another question. Why wrap Bitcoin? Good question. So when you buy Bitcoin, you're buying Bitcoin under the Bitcoin blockchain, right? So Bitcoin's blockchain is its own blockchain. It only Bitcoin can deal with this. So when you send Bitcoin certain places, you have to send it to like Bitcoin wallets. So a lot of this decentralized finance world, most of it, actually almost all of it, I think right this second, is built on the Ethereum blockchain. So you can't just send Bitcoin into the Ethereum blockchain. So what the creators of Ethereum did was they said, all right, we're going to make the same exact one-to-one price of Bitcoin, but we're going to wrap it in the Ethereum blockchain. So if you want to use it at the current price it is and buy it at the current price it is, you buy it as wrapped Bitcoin. And what that is you're basically buying Ethereum version of Bitcoin. So you can do a lot of this borrow lending stuff. Eventually, Bitcoin will have some of this stuff too. The difference is there's no smart contracts yet on the Bitcoin network. They're working on different things with layer 2s and all that, but it doesn't exist yet. They're working on it. Ethereum, it existed, it's been here for a while, and it's really ramping up. So I tell people, if you're going to be in this create your own bank world, buy wrap Bitcoin, because then you can do all this decentralized finance stuff with it. If you don't, you have to hope and wait for someone else to create that. And it doesn't exist yet, in my knowledge. Somebody was going to ask a question, right? On Clubhouse? No? All right. Go ahead, Moody. You got a question?
Hey, what's up? No. I was just like, I say nobody kind of like raised their hands or nothing. So we good.
Okay.
I do got a question. What do you think about like Neon District in those video games?
Say it again. What was the name of it?
Neon District.
Oh, I looked at it. I don't know. I haven't played with it yet. How does it work? Can you explain to everybody what it is and how it works? Because I saw just like the demo, but I really didn't like look into it too much.
Yeah, it's like a game that you basically buy NFTs and you take those NFTs in the game and can play the game.
And what kind of game is it though?
It's like a shooter type of game.
So like Fortnite?
Yeah, somewhat.
And what do you think about it?
I think those games are cool. I think those games are gonna change the landscape of how video games are. You know, even like the physical PlayStation, Xbox ones as well. You know, I think they all will go into metaverse.
Yeah, you kind of have to, right? Like that's what I mean about innovation. Innovation comes along, and if you don't join it, you're gonna get left behind. So imagine if there's games where people playing them can make actual money, and then there's your game where you have this imaginary currency that people spend 1,000 hours playing to buy a gun, instead of I can make actual money that I could take out into the real world. Which one are you going to play, right? So that's an innovation that either you get on the train or it's going to leave you behind. That's why decentralized finance, because decentralized finance is what's powering that, right? What Milan is talking about is another thing I was going to bring up, NFTs. I think when we look at getting rich slow and over time and the things we need to understand and start playing with, NFTs is the third on my list. First is decentralized finance. Second is making sure you diversify with other things like stock and real estate within your own understanding. So you got to really start understanding it and making sure you're playing with it. But then NFTs is, to me, one of the biggest opportunities to come along. And what is it powered by? The blockchain again, the same blockchain that was created by Bitcoin and was multiplied by Ethereum. And now NFTs run on mostly, guess what? Ethereum, right? So this is why I'm so focused on crypto right now. And it seems like, oh, Miguel, you became a crypto guy. It's not based on me wanting to be a crypto guy. It's based on me saying, all right, for people to be in the best case scenario for themselves for the foreseeable future, they need to understand this world. And I'm just going to keep punching them in the face till they wake up. and put a few dollars in and start to understand it, because it's here. It's here, but we're early. And if you look up 20 years from now, you remember, all right, I was in 2021. Most people didn't get in until 2028. So from those 7 years, I had a huge advantage and I made more money. I had more NFTs, I had more crypto. My bank was building for 7 years before most people even knew what it was. That is my goal here, right? So games like that, I'm not a gamer as much. So I really look for my sons to find games and say, all right, when is that going to reach adults too? Right? So my kids play Roblox, my kids play Fortnite, and those are two metaverses, just like Milan said, but they don't have NFTs yet. I do believe they will have to become part of that NFT world, and when they do, that's going to be some real good times, I think, for people like my kids. All right, what is the game called? What was the game called again, Milan?
That one's Neon District. There's another
Neon District. If you didn't hear it, go ahead.
There's another one called Zed Run, where you can buy horses and race horses.
Oh, I've heard of that. That you could breed them too, right? You breed horses too.
Yeah, and you can like trade your NFT for another NFT and get a different horse, and then you can race that horse.
And that was really big on Matic. That one I really hear a lot of people on Matic talking about. So this is like horse racing. So think about this. Think about what rich people do right now in the real world. You hear about rich people owning horses, right? Racing horses, investing in a horse. Now, these horses are kind of expensive. I look, they're a few $1,000s, these horses, right? But it's the same idea. A real horse costs like $1 million. Think about what you have to do to have a horse. You got to have a stable. You got to have trainers. You got to have all this stuff. Now you can own a horse for a few $1,000s that doesn't need all those things and can get you the same type of rewards. And then one day somebody could buy it off you. And guess what? It will never be harmed. Like a lot of race horses got to be killed, because once they break their leg, they're useless, so they kill them, right? But even just if they were great and they never got hurt, eventually a horse dies. This digital horse will live forever. You could pass this horse on to your great-great-great-grandkids, right? And this is like powerful stuff. And how do you compete with that? If you think about that innovation, how does regular horse racing compete with that? No cost of ownership other than the first time you buy it. Unlimited use. Never going to die. Never going to be tired. I don't know how it really works, but I'm guessing you can race your horse every day if you want. Right? You can't race another horse every day. You can't race a real horse every day. That's what I mean about innovation, creating these areas where you can't compete. So you either jump on the train or you just wait to get left, right? So this is a super interesting time. Milan, what are you going to say?
And multiple times a day, right?
Like you can. Like, so you've done it? I didn't know if you could.
No, I'm looking at it right now, but it's like seeing where you can put like $2 in, and if you win the race, you'll get $26.
So it's basic. So your horse, you're betting on horses, right? Do you own the horse in that case?
You own the horse, and then you pick the gate, and then once you're in the gate, wait for the event to start, and then you pay the entry fee. So, like for example, there's one for an entry fee of $9, and you'll win $106.
But if you lose, you just lose the $9.
Yeah.
So it's like it's gambling. It's gambling. It's just like going to the horse races.
Yeah, but exactly.
And if you own the horse, do you get a percentage of all? How does it work if you own it?
Prize, and then you also have the ability to sell the horse and then trade it for another one.
Got it. So you said it cut out a little bit. You said you get a prize as the horse winner. Oh, because you're not betting on the horse, you're the owner. So if they win the full pot. Basically, that's what you're saying. Just like regular horse racing.
Yeah, like any other type of bet, right? Like you bet on like DraftKings.
Yeah. So just like regular horse racing. So think about that. This stuff is coming for everything. I don't care what you do, what you love doing. Every single thing will be in this world, crypto world, NFT world. I'm telling you. The only saving grace of external, that's why I'm looking at real estate, right? Everybody says you got to own real estate. That's real. But even me, I'm looking at real estate and they're saying like millennials won't own real estate. It's just like we're heading into this world where it doesn't make sense to own things. We won't own cars because everything will be autonomous and you can just walk out, jump into a car, right? What are you going to say, Andrew?
Who's going to own it?
The business owners, and then everybody else is going to pay the bill, the cost. But eventually, it will be so cheap. So like Uber, for instance, I got this innovation book club. If you saw, I put The Future is Faster Than You Think. It's a book by Peter Diamandis, one of the most forward innovators in the world. In the book, he says that once autonomous vehicles are a thing, which is going to be very soon, sooner than you think, it will cost less to ride a car whenever you want than to own a car. So why would you do that? So all right, so if you just want to own a car to feel like you own a car, that's one thing. But if you're using a car to just get around and do what you got to do, it won't make sense financially for you to do that. Already there's a lot of people that do that. I know people that are like, why buy a car? I just Uber wherever I want. I don't drive every single day, so I'll just pay the Uber when I need it. That's already happening. But the cost of Uber is a little high because they have to pay the human driving it, right? What happens when that human is no longer needed to drive the car? The price of that ride is going to go down tremendously. So that's why you got to understand these things that are coming and say, okay, if I think that's going to happen, how soon do I believe it's going to happen? And what do I do if that's my job, right? Like, I got to start figuring out other things. Like Andrew just said, maybe I start buying some Teslas because when the autonomous vehicles are the ones driving people around, I'll own 5 of them and I'll make that money, right? That's what I mean about starting to like plan to get rich slow and planning yourself out. What are you going to say, Andrew?
Well, so I've been driving Uber during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I've been making more money on Friday and Saturday nights than I ever have. And it's because
supply and demand, right? Like probably there's not as many Uber drivers right now, probably, right?
Right. There's less people who own cars and actually drive.
Yeah.
And that's why and the people that dictate the prices of Uber are Uber.
Yeah. But what do you think? All right, so right now you're doing this. You're driving Friday nights, Saturday nights, whatever, making extra money. Do you think about the autonomous vehicle thing?
Absolutely. But
you cutting out, Andrew.
That would mean that Uber can manipulate the price. Like they own it entirely. They own the technology. They'll own the.
You're right. They can use their own cars. You're right. They can
make the price, and they can charge you $1 billion for a ride on the block.
That's true, and that's where again. But guess what I believe is going to happen? Guess what I believe is going to happen? Again, I believe there's going to be a decentralized version of Uber that comes out, right? Just like there's decentralized finance, and they eliminate that middleman that gets to decide what the prices are and what the surge price, all that bullshit. I think a decentralized version of Uber, I believe a decentralized version of Airbnb, all these centralized entities that right now are disrupting the industry, I believe they're going to get disrupted by decentralized versions of them. And then what that will do is people like us, hopefully, can own those by buying into those companies, either hopefully early through equity crowdfunding, because then we'll own actual stock in them, or buying their shares as early as possible. Somebody was going to say something?
Founding the companies.
Or founding them, even better. If they found them, that would be amazing. That's part of what I'm always saying, entrepreneurs and investors, right? I believe the real thing is we all need to be thinking, how do we create these disruptive problem solvers and own them and allow our community to own them with us through things like equity crowdfunding, right? Like imagine if I today through some like miracle, come up with the idea that is the decentralized version of Uber or Airbnb. And I could say, hey, I'm going to need $2 million to do it anyway, because I need like 1,000 developers, whatever it is. You guys want to invest in that with me? Here's the opportunity. Go ahead. Now, however you want to put in 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000, that's how much of it you're going to own. And let's go. That's what I believe needs to happen, because right now, the rich are just getting richer, and by a lot. Like they were saying during the pandemic, rich people just got so much more. So it's about owning rental property, not property to live in. Exactly. So what Francis just said is exactly what I'm saying. Like, if you're a millennial and you rather not live somewhere for 30 years, you're probably not going to buy a home. You're probably going to say, you know what? I'd rather live in the Dominican Republic for 6 months. I'm going to rent an Airbnb for 6 months. Go there, buy it. Rent it for that long. All right, you know what? Next, I'm going to go to Paris. I want to live in Paris for 6 months. Instead of buying a house and living in Omaha, Nebraska for 30 years, you know what I mean? Or even New York, wherever, right? I don't think that's the way the world is going. So that's why I'm saying vacation real estate, or maybe don't even think about it as vacation real estate. Think about it as nomad real estate, right? But the idea is the same. You have properties and places people like to go and like to be in, and you own a percentage of them or the whole thing, and you rent it out, either through things like Airbnb, which, again, link in bio. Check out the Leisure Fund. We're working on that right now. Of course, you guys remember that. But the idea is you got to look at where you think the world is going and start putting in pieces to own some of it. Right. And I don't mean just like hope you work in that company. I mean, like, how do you get to own some of this? And this is where I always, and like I'm telling you, I just really understood this not too long ago. By buying shares of a company on the stock market is very different than owning shares of the actual company in something like equity crowdfunding. Very, very different. So this is where part of my whole get rich slow strategy. You got to start understanding stuff like equity crowdfunding. You got to understand where you think things are going. That's why I keep telling you these books and like Internet of Money with Bitcoin. It talks about the way we're going to move money around in this world. If you don't understand that right now, you might as well still be writing checks at the supermarket, right? Like, keep the old model. As long as you think it's going to exist. But one day, you're going to be at the supermarket writing a check, and everybody's going to look at you like, seriously? Are you still fucking writing checks? Right? That's how I look at people right now when they want to pay me in cash or with checks. So we all need to start like moving ourselves to understand it and then position ourselves and be like, all right, I really believe that people are going to move around, like Miguel said, instead of just owning a house. How do I invest in that? Okay, look up. And of course, there's going to be stuff like the Leisure Fund. There's already real estate property funds. Grant Cardone has one. But again, they have theses, right? Their thesis is, I'm going to buy multifamily where people are going to live. My personal thesis is, I don't know if people are going to do that anymore. If they're going to really like live somewhere for 30 years like that. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question?
Sorry, Miguel. My argument against the whole gypsy moving around, millennials will rent from place to place, is the cost of moving. You're going to have a stereo system and a big dining room table that you have to put in a truck to move, and then you have to like reset.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Carpets down, and just to get acclimated to your new living space takes 6 months.
That's a good point, actually.
People don't own furniture.
That's what, yeah. Basically, I was about to say when Milan.
With environments, they don't really care about their room. They like to just soak in what that person's feeling, pretty much.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly what Milan said. I'm not a millennial. Milan is a millennial, but I was thinking that really is an old school model within itself, right? Like, if you'd rather be traveling and moving around, is having a sofa you love gonna stop that? I don't think so. But again, I could be wrong. That's why, again, this is personal finance. You have to make your own bet. You have to say, I believe this is what's going to happen. And how do I invest in that? I remember one time, I'll never forget this. I went to a meeting. I'm an innovation consultant, and I spoke to one of my clients, and I told them about augmented reality, right? Which augmented reality, I believe, is the future of how we move around this world and connect the internet. Another innovation, I'll get back to one day. So I'm telling the client about this. So we start the project. I leave. I come back to show the project, the update. She was like, you just made me a lot of money. And I was like, what do you mean? The project, we're not even done. She was like, no, I told my stock person and my financial advisors about augmented reality and to put me in stocks that are around that. And I was like, for real? She was like, I didn't even know to think like that, right? And she said, my stocks are up crazy in that space. And I remember thinking, all right, I understood this, but I didn't know what she knew of how to connect the dot of, I know this is going to happen, but I didn't really know how to make money around it other than producing it for clients. She knew because we're working on one, and she knew how to take that financial literacy that she grew up with and put it in the shares of companies that she or her financial advisor found that would take advantage of this technology. That's where this all comes from right now. Like, if you are hearing, not just from me, I'm sure you guys listen to other stuff, what do you believe is going to happen, and how do you put your money, place the bet like that? Because that is a more safe bet. You believe this is going to happen. You most likely are probably going to live like that. So you support the type of lifestyle you believe you're going to have. I don't know about the car thing, but I do know, Andrew, whenever I drive, I'm like, I fucking can't wait till there's self-driving cars. People are freaking crazy, right? Like, I cannot wait till we don't have to have people driving. What you?
I would love for that to happen, but driving is so complicated. I mean,
they're working on it though. A lot of people working on it. I think it's closer than we think.
That's gonna sure, but listen, when I'm driving Uber, I'm rolling around in a 2-ton exploding sled made of steel.
You could be tired.
Yeah. Exhausted. You know, I just caddied 36 holes, and then I'm,
yeah, I mean,
driving people safely from place to place with my phone mounted. I'm playing on my on my windshield with some drunk asshole that just decides to walk out in front of this hurling vehicle.
And I mean,
you have to be so alert.
And that's not even talking about road rage and people just, like you said, not paying attention. I just see, and already you see, I don't know. I've seen stuff on the road where it's like, there's no driver. Holy shit, there's no driver already. Like, that shit is already happening. Right. So and I got friends that have Teslas. They're like, dude, this is pretty crazy. I'll drive from Connecticut to Manhattan. I don't got to touch the wheel right now. That is kind of crazy. Of course, there's times where they're like, whoa, the speed goes up and down. And sometimes I'm like, I can't gauge the speed. So I get thrown around a little bit, but that's all going to get fixed, man. This is early technology. And like I'm saying in the books, they're saying 5 to 10 years, no doubt about it. They're already designing cars without steering wheels. That shit is crazy. All right. Having the foresight during this time is essentially securing the bag long term. Exactly. Oz, exactly. My thing is, you got to start figuring out how, and that's why I say this all started with crypto for me. Like, I wanted to create this content around crypto because what I see in crypto is the start of a lot of us starting to understand financial literacy more. And I don't give a fuck how it happens, but it's good that it's happening because of crypto. I believe when people ask about Shiba, they are looking into the financial system just by asking about Dogecoin, Shiba. Even though I say, I don't know if that's a good coin to start, whatever it takes for you to go into this world and start understanding coin supply, market cap, what makes this move, All that is all connected to financial literacy, right? But now let's start understanding what you think people are going to do, because here's a big thing. Most people don't really understand this. What is stock? Stock, crypto coins, they don't have much to do with the way the company is being run internally. They have everything to do with how the public perceives those companies. So when you look at a stock and you see it going up, it rarely has to do with what they're doing internally. It has to do with the storylines that are coming out. And then you see what happens with Bitcoin. Every time Elon says something, it goes down. Bitcoin didn't change. Nothing in Bitcoin changed. But that news changed the price, because that's really what stock and crypto trading is about versus what you think people are going to do. So if you time that right and you say, and that's why I'm in Bitcoin and I'm in Ethereum, because I think eventually everybody's going to use this stuff. Early, sure. I could be wrong, sure. That's why it's not financial advice. But I, from seeing this many times happen, am looking at this and saying, I've seen this at least 3 times already, and this one is crazy. And we all in the whole planet can take advantage of this instantly with little to no money. That to me means no doubt about it, right? So that's where crypto. But then real estate. Okay, how can people really own real estate? You need a lot of money, but you see a lot of things happening. There's all these funds. You can put in $100 and own a part of a property, get a part. So I'm seeing that, and I'm like, that's definitely going to happen. No doubt about it. Okay, let me start figuring that out. Then I see NFTs, literally anything you do. Jack Dorsey, the owner of Twitter, tweeted, he made an NFT of his first tweet, sold for $2 million. That was a tweet of something he did, right? Eventually, of course, he's a popular person. I'm not saying every human being will get popular enough where people want to buy something that they did for $3 million. But I believe NFTs will be like social media. We all have social media accounts, right? I believe we will all have things we own that we think other people may want to own, and we're going to have them on NFT platforms, and some things are going to sell. If you're an artist, more than people who are not artists. If you're a creator in any type of realm, you're going to, of course, have more opportunity to sell NFTs. But this is where anybody has a chance. You can collect and sell. There's collectors, right? There's people who go to Comic-Con and buy comic books and then sell them a year later for more basketball cards. That all is coming to the NFT space. And it happened again instantly. No way of being cheated out of your sale, making no way for people to sell you some fake thing. Again, how do you compete with that? How does the old school way compete with a way that's unbreakable, instant, cheaper, unlimited? No way. So again, these are the 3 things I'm saying. Pay attention to these 3 things. Start figuring out how to be in them. Just buy an NFT. Look up equity crowdfunding for real estate and there's another thing that's been happening to me. So many people hitting me up. If you have any cannabis companies come across your desk, let me know. Before, I would have to be like, yeah, but you have to be an accredited investor, meaning you have to be rich, pretty rich. Damn, I can't take advantage of that. But now I'm seeing cannabis equity crowdfunding startups. And there's a person in this room that's working on one, right? And there's opportunity there, right? We've been left out of that in the past, right? Okay, people go to jail in our where we come from, but now there's people getting rich off of it. But now we can too, right? You could put $100 into a cannabis company, own a part of that company, own a part of its future, not just the stock of it when it reaches the public market. This is owning a part of the company. That's why equity crowdfunding is very different than buying stock. But you have to understand the difference of when you can expect a return. You can't expect to sell your shares in 2 days and make $20. You have to hold it longer. So there's a difference. Go ahead, Andrew. What's the question?
So, so Elon puts out, some news that he's not going to accept Bitcoin for his Teslas, right? But isn't that an internal decision? right? It's not just a facade, right? The public statement is a derivation of what's actually going on within the company. Right?
Yeah, but
the stock of Tesla, right, enables you to dictate what is being put out, right? So the stock is the ability to create the narrative, right?
But what are you saying though? I don't understand what you mean.
Exactly. I'm trying to figure that out.
So you mentioned that the fact that stock is just like this movie theater type of thing, right? It's a very like fantastical, fun
public perception.
Situation.
Yeah.
Right. You're trying to sway what people think, right? But that comes from the internal culture
of the company.
Of the company.
Yes, and that's the reason
that they're making, and the real estate, the real things that they own. You know?
So what's the question though? What are you saying though? Like, isn't it still connected?
Yes, it's totally connected.
It is. So the reason stock was created actually was a way to keep companies a little more honest to their customers, right? If you know you have this vehicle out there in the world that kind of lets you know how people feel about your company, then you create that, you make a stock, right? And if people don't like what you're doing, the stock goes down, then you know, oh shit, I got to change that because people are not liking that. If they like what you're doing, it goes up. So you understand, okay, people are liking what we're doing. Let's do more of that, right? So that's why it was created. But what I see is now it's very gameable if you understand how to do that, right? Like, and Elon right now, when he talks about Bitcoin, he can do that because he doesn't own Bitcoin. Nobody owns Bitcoin, but his company owns Bitcoin, right? It has it as an asset in its public books. So when he talks about it, he's actually affecting his public company because he owns so much of it. So that's where he's starting to get into like this whole all right, I'll answer your question, Stone. This whole thing about his narrative around Bitcoin is kind of crazy because it hurts his company in one way and it hurts the industry in another. But there was this video that someone sent me actually in this room about Anonymous. Anonymous put out a video going at Elon Musk. If you don't know what Anonymous is, they're like the number one hackers in the world. They try to do good on our behalf through hacking. And they put out this video that was like, Elon, there's no way you don't know the truth about Bitcoin. Your company Tesla makes most of its money by getting subsidies from the government on energy usage, right? So you know this. So the fact that you're doing this about Bitcoin, you are ruining the opportunity of Bitcoin, which has a much bigger impact on the world than any of your companies will. In Tesla, all this stuff you're doing, Bitcoin has a chance to help every single person on this planet. And they were like, we're going to come for you. Right. And it was like, whoa, right. I wonder how he took that. Because as a person in technology, you don't want Anonymous coming for you. Right. But they're right. I've been saying this for a while. There's no way he don't know that Bitcoin, built into the Bitcoin business model, is you have to find cheap energy or energy that is going unused, or you can make money. So Bitcoin is not adding extra carbon to the environment. If anything, it's using mostly energy that was going wasted. And he knows that. There's no way he doesn't know that. So for him to say that, there must be another angle to it that we don't know. And that's where Anonymous is like, we're going to find that out.
I think we all know.
Say it again.
I said I think we all know.
Well,
What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Let's go. Let's talk about it.
It makes remittance more efficient. It makes sending money.
Oh yeah. It
more efficient. Right.
It makes so many things. Like, dude, think about how much the banking industry wastes energy. Think about all these things where the dollar, to print up dollars, how much energy is that? How many trees we kill for that? How much ink we create? How many octopus die for us to make these freaking dollar bills that nobody wants to have in their hands anyway, right? So this is all bull. But again, we're on a small scale here. We don't know what they're talking. These billionaires and people who actually run the world, their plans are, but Bitcoin goes against them. That's the thing, right? Like the control mechanism of the financial market, Bitcoin was literally created to make a huge stand against that. So, and of course, and a big thing is, where does Elon make most of his money? Where does his net worth come from? When you see he becomes the richest person in the world, and then he goes below Jeff Bezos, where's it coming from? His stock, right? So it's like, he's part of the system, so of course he has to play that game. He can't be too far outside. Even though he's an innovator, he understands Bitcoin, crypto is the future. He still has to play to his current money-making, scenario. And of course, stock is a good thing if you own actual stock, not just trading it. If you're trading it, it's good too, because you get to win on that public perception if you understand how to time it. And if you do pick companies where it's going to keep on going up, right? Like, if you invested in Apple 20 years ago, you're pretty good. So there's some people asking me about some coins that, all right, so I don't know if I can say this is a children's show, but Cum Rocket is one a lot of people have been asking me about. It's basically like a porn token, and it's like porn NFTs. I don't know. It went up, but I don't. It went up. Get it? I don't know if I would buy that. But again, for not financial advice, it could go up a lot more, and then you make money, or it could be a pump and dump. I didn't mean to do that, but it was funny. It could be something that you just get left holding the bag on, and I don't know. I haven't looked into the project. Maybe I should. But I've been hearing about it for a few weeks, so I probably missed the boat. I don't know. But again, this is where again you gotta come pause. Yeah, exactly. This is where again you gotta make your own decision. You gotta look into this stuff and say, is it worth? Do I believe more people are gonna do this? What are you gonna say, Moody?
My bad. No, it's not related to so. My question would be, I wanted to ask you, with these the NFT thing, right? So because I know there's a whole lot of swaps. You have the bakery swap with the NFT. They have NFTs, whatever. Is there something like a layer on top of that anywhere where you could do some kind of crowdfunding with NFTs? Have you had maybe an interaction with anything like that?
Ha! Funny you say that. We got somebody in the room. Milan, you want to tell them about what you've been looking at?
For what?
For the crowdfunding NFT stuff. Have you made any more dent in that?
So crowdfunding NFT?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you mean though? What I mean is sort of use NFTs as collateral, and then crowdfund on top of that, because I was thinking the underlayer is maybe you tokenize what I mean? With NFTs you can tokenize basically everything, and anything can be tokenized, right? And then you can sort of a crowdfund on top of that, and then whatever that revenue stream is or whatever liquidity that generates then flows back down into whatever it is you want to, if it's a business, if it's you get what I'm saying? See the whole. Yeah, 100%. You just got to be careful what you're doing, because your NFT could just be you're selling securities, you know what I mean? You're just selling.
Yeah, so there's a website actually that does this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But there's a website that does this. It's called charge.fi. It's called Charge Particles. Transform your NFTs basket holdings into tokens. So I've heard about this. I haven't tried it. But again, basically NFTs are this asset. The value of them is kind of created by the person who buys it. This is where it gets a little bit hazy, because what if nobody else thinks it's worth that? They're already saying that you can create loans off your NFTs the same way you can create it off your crypto, because the collateral is that coin or whatever, right? So like, let's say you bought an NFT off Elon Musk for $1 million. They're saying you could take that, and it's just like owning $1 million home. You could borrow off of it and do stuff. But what if nobody else is willing to pay you $1 million for that? That's where it gets a little difficult to understand. But this is where, wherever there's a challenge, there's a huge opportunity, right? And this NFT space, man, like this owning things and then being able to sell them, borrow against them, is gonna be huge. So I don't know. I've never used charged particles. I do own NFTs. I already have people actually trying to buy my NFTs off of me too, which is cool. But again, I'll give you the truth of my NFT holdings. Like, I have different wallets with different NFTs. I don't know if people are gonna pay me the value that I like right now. The people trying to buy my NFT off me, they're offering me way less than I paid for it. Not way less, like maybe 30%, right? But I'm not gonna sell it for 30% of what I paid. Why would I do that, right? I might as well just wait.
There's a thing about NFTs that are going to be the future, right?
Wait, say that again. There were two people talking. What you said, Milan?
I said the future would be functional NFTs, not the art. You know, art's only going to be good for like the real good artist that's a lot of clout, or maybe for music, right? But other than that, it's going to be the functional ones.
That makes sense to me. I could see that. You know, there's like ideas. Actually, there was something like this that connects to real estate. I heard this person sold their property. They sold 50% of it, the value of it, as an NFT. And then by owning that right, what's up, Jeff? Good morning. By owning that right, you get a percentage of the revenue every month, because whoever owns this NFT is going to receive that monthly check. That's super interesting.
That's exactly what my train of thought was. But I think like the angle Milan talked about really makes a lot of sense. Like, because if you start what do you call it, like raising funds off of that, because that's technically like equity. That's equity you just sold there, right?
Yep.
Property. So that's pretty much like a security.
Yeah,
so
that's the problem. Like that NFT, for instance, with my example, I don't know if they went through SEC laws for that, so there could be some problems, right? This is where we're early. What you said?
But I said it's definitely a problem. But I would say, Moody, what I would do, because like we were going through it too. That's why, Miguel kind of chimed in there. But we have our own system we've been trying to build, which we're having these grow boxes that are growing fresh produce that we want to give NFTs out for people to control the box and eventually get the profits, right? So that's what our idea was. Eventually figured out, okay, let's gamify it and make it into Farmville. Right, so now we'll sell each character as NFTs, and each character in the game will control the grow box. So they're really playing a game now, and then it's still doing the same function that we wanted to do.
So are you circumventing the so you
exactly, man? That is smart. That is smart, bro.
So basically, so wait, let me see if I understand this, Milan. You're saying you owning an NFT and playing a game, but it's really powering the real world. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's powering our grow boxes around the world. So
that's dope.
We're focusing on the highest nutritional valued foods, right? So all of our foods will be high in nutrients, and we already have contracts with Whole Foods and all that stuff, as you know, within Grown Organics.
So yeah, of course, I know a lot about your project. If you want to quickly explain it fully, but also someone on Instagram is asking, can you explain functional NFTs? One of you, I guess, maybe within your explanation, Milan, you could do that.
Yeah. So functional NFTs, right? So the characters that we're selling. So for example, one of them is an operator, right? We're going to sell that one for $1,000. Now the operator is the one verifying the transactions that's happening within the blockchain. Meaning, there's operators, farmers, and negotiators, right? They each do different things within that process. The operators are going to oversee the whole project. The farmers are going to actually do the functions. So they're going to vote on what the robot should do next, because we're using robotic technology. And then negotiators are going to vote on what should happen with the robots, meaning what crops are going to be grown and where those crops are going to get distributed, right? So there is a 3-part process for each person, and each person has their own role. So meaning functional is like the farmer now has a functionality because that farmer can do different things within the process.
So basically, owning the NFT actually has a function in the world, right?
That's in the game, yes. And then in the game, it will mimic stuff in the real world with our business.
So what I like about that, what I think is genius about that is you probably are getting around some good problems because you're basically playing a game.
They play chess, and others are coming to the table and playing checkers.
But again,
we figured it out, and then you gotta think we came at the perfect time, right? Because Farmville just ended December 2020.
It closed it for real.
39 million people without farm accounts. So we're like, wow, I'm gonna just make this game over, decentralize it, and then it'll be huge because now it's like every time someone's doing anything farming, it's really mimicking what they're eating. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing. So
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm gonna talk to my SEC connections though. Make sure you're good. I'll be back.
That was the main thing, right? So each person, each farmer, each operator, they all get rewarded their own amount of cultivate coins each harvest.
Okay, just to stay on this game topic, just wanted to ask something that's a little on the side of that. So what do you think in terms of like this forward scaling of like the Decentraland as compared to like Fortnite is hugely popular, but I'm thinking that's like they're pretty much like at the top of in terms of like the saturation of like people going in there. So what do you think of putting that on apples for apples for like Decentraland going into the future? What do you think?
I think what's going to end up happening is like you have to be versatile. Like Miguel was saying, we don't know what's going to be the next biggest metaverse, but what you can do is kind of make your own location cross-chained, meaning it can go into Decentraland, it can go into another metaverse easily, right? So people can jump out of the metaverse and still have your experience. If you're a developer, before the overall aspect, I think it's going to grow bigger than anything in crypto.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about anything. I think. What are you gonna say? What'd you say?
No, I said because I was thinking about doing some retail in Decentraland, so I'm like trying to like.
There's people doing it. There's people doing it. This is what I think. I think metaverses are gonna be just like real estate in the real world, but again, like anything else, digital is always more valuable than physical. At least we keep seeing it, right? Like online stores are worth more than physical stores, right? Because more people can visit them, right? So Decentraland, say it again.
I said, how can digital stores be more valuable than physical places?
Because they make more money, right? So if I made a store today, say it again.
No inventory, no rent. They don't have to worry about getting location. Their expenses are extremely low.
Don't need as many people.
But don't you have to have, like, look at Amazon, right? Don't you have to have the trucks, the boxes,
But you don't need to. You don't need that if you create a store today. You don't have to have all that.
Yeah, but you outsource it to Amazon, and they control your life.
No, you can use UPS. You can use USPS.
You can contract whatever, a shipper.
Yeah. What are you gonna say, Milan?
No, I was just saying he can use any like regional shipper or local. You know what I mean?
So I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why it's more valuable, right? Let's say you have a physical location. Where do you want to have this location? Let's say it's Times Square. How much is that gonna cost you a month? A lot. 50,000, 100,000 a month to have a location there, right? How many people physically can walk into that store every day? Sure, one of the most heavily trafficked places in the world. Let's say, $1 million people a day go into there. Online, it's unlimited, 24 hours a day, never closes, never has a bad day, raining, whatever it is. There's no way a physical location could ever do the same volume as an online location. So with Decentraland and metaverses, It's going to be the same thing. Imagine I have a store in Decentraland. Literally anybody in the entire planet, all day, every day, 24/7, can visit it all day, every day again, right? And buy. No place you buy a physical location, a store, you're going to be able to do that. So that's why I believe it's going to be bigger than everything else. But again, timeline. You got to rethink a timeline. Me, back in my early days in innovation, I always thought things are going to happen like tomorrow. Now I'm older, more distinguished, gray-haired. I see things take a lot longer than you think because there's this like adoption curve, right? I don't know if you've ever seen that. The adoption curve of early adopters, which I am, then it's the early majority start to use it, and then most people use it, then everybody uses it, right? So those first two columns, they take different time, right? Like I told you, when I was into augmented reality, I had thought everybody's going to be doing this in 5 years. It's 10 years later, people still don't even really know what it is, even though they use it every day and they don't even know it, right? But it's still not, everybody doesn't understand and they use it every day. How long before everybody's in metaverses? Who knows? But when I look at my kids spend all day long in metaverses, you know? So the next generation, the generation of my kids' age and beyond, it may not even be a question. They're just going to be in metaverses and understand that world, right? They literally interact all day long with their friends in metaverses right now. So we, as the past generations, we look at it and we're like, oh, I don't know if I'll do that. But the current generation is already doing it, right? So if think about that on the whole world, there are more young people than older people, right? And it's going to get more and more like that. So it could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, it could be 5 years, who knows? Yeah, so like Stone said, no employees either on a physical location. So you can make a store in Decentraland today, put up T-shirts. Millions of people can go in there every day. You don't need to pay a person to sit in that store 24/7. That's a cost. You don't have to pay rent. You paid that one-time cost of Decentraland. And even at $9,000, $12,000, that could be considered a deal when I tell you that if you have a store in Times Square, even if you have a store in the Bronx, you're paying thousands of dollars a month, and you're getting nowhere near the traffic you can get on these metaverses. So this is where I would love to be proved wrong, but I can't see a place where, and this is again why I'm bringing this up. Think about what I just said. Think about all those jobs and all those companies that are affected by that. People that rent out space, people that lease commercial real estate, people that own commercial real estate, people who work at stores, people who work in stock rooms, people who do marketing for physical location stores, people who drive traffic through physical places, people that do events. All these people are being automated out by situations like this. So what do they got to do? They got to look and be like, oh, wait, this is the future. I better be in it right now. If I own commercial real estate right now, I'd be like, all right, how do I own commercial real estate in the next metaverses? All of them. Because whichever one wins, I got to be in it or I'm done, right? That's how I'll be looking at it. And I am looking at it. You know, that's why we've been looking at stuff like Decentraland, because I'm not in the commercial space, but in that world, I would be, because I know it's forever. And 24 hours a day, unlimited people. That's kind of crazy. And guess what? Guess how people are going to buy things in this world? It's not going to be cash. It's not going to be Chase. It's going to be crypto. This is why, again, I'm pushing everybody to understand this stuff. If you don't understand it, you're just going to have less of it when it hits. That's it. What other questions? Auspicious, I know that's not your name, but you have any questions? Angelique, you have any questions or comments? Anybody on the chats anywhere, on the Instagram, on the Twitter, on the Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, any comments or questions?
Yo, what's up, y'all?
What's up, man?
Oh, not shit, bro, but it's funny, like, I'm still learning about crypto, but the only thing I can really add to this conversation is the whole Ready Player One movie.
Oops. Yeah, I love that movie. I love that movie.
I haven't watched it, fam, but I just watched the first 5 minutes and it blew my mind. I was like, whoa, like I know what they're talking about.
So if you look at the whole premise of that movie, it's pretty scary because I don't want to ruin it, but like it gets to a place where all people do is they're in virtual world, and they're literally people that go to like in like virtual jail to pay off their bills and stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What are you gonna say? Sorry.
No, nothing. I was just gonna say I'm very on the conspiracy side of things. Like I know how they show us what they're gonna do in movies and shit like that. So I agree with the whole crypto thing for sure. The Decentraland
programming and shit like that. Yeah, no, they definitely do. But I would say we have every piece of technology right now to build Ready Player One easily.
The thing that it's just graphics quality. Graphics quality is the only thing. Sorry, say it again. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead, go.
Yeah, it's just you can always
cut off. I couldn't hear you. Sorry. What'd you say, Milan?
No, I think you can always update graphics.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably the main problem with Decentraland right now. If you go there, it's basically like blocks. It doesn't look. It looks like PS3, right, or maybe even less.
But the reason why is because it's cheap for development. Like even when, like, for example, like I just learned how to use Unity, right? So now I know how to make like the 2D and 3D characters, and also the scenes, so I can build a scene in Decentraland. Now, it's so much easier for me to do 2D because I can always upgrade it later on to 3D and stuff like that. But it's easier to have that basic premise.
Sure, you're right. And you're right. Like when you try to make reason why I say Ready Player One is because most people look at that and they think, oh, it's gonna look like this right here. Like if we're really next to each other. That technology, Milan is right. It does exist right now, but the merging of those two worlds doesn't exist yet. You can't in your browser have graphics that look like I'm a real person yet, right? In virtual reality, closer, but not in the browser. So all these things kind of have to slowly build up, and then eventually we will be there. All the pieces are made separately, and this is what that book, The Future is Faster Than You Think, talks about. It's talking about a lot of these ideas that we believe are not possible. The pieces are already made separately. Now they got to figure out how to combine them. So in the book, they're talking about how Uber is working on flying cars right now. And they have most of the pieces connected already. They're missing like 2 pieces, and they're working on those pieces. So what they believe is going to happen is next 5 to 10 years, you're going to take a plane or a fast train somewhere. You'll jump in a flying vehicle, go further distance, land, and then jump into an autonomous car that goes a shorter distance. And all those pieces are already being worked on, and they're just missing a few pieces to connect the dots. And when they have them, they're going to test it, and that's going to be our lives. And it's going to be a shock if you're not looking at it right now and thinking, man, this is 20 years away, 50 years away. You could be right. Like I said before, like sometimes innovation takes a lot longer than you would think it is going to be. So when I hear things like that, I'm like, yeah, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years. But things are moving a lot faster than people have expected. Crypto was not supposed to be this used yet. That's why the Ethereum gas price is what it is. Nobody expected this many people to have crypto this early. But we're moving faster than we think, right? So everything is happening much faster than you think. I'd rather have you being prepared for the fastest speed than think it's going to happen in 20 years and it happens in 5.
We've got supersonic jets, passenger jets.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
the extension to the Concorde is being rolled out by United.
Yeah, so this is like you go to fucking here to London in 2 hours, shit like that. Like this is like all coming. All right, like if I 10x on a coin and I want to cash out buy a property to potentially avoid paying taxes. So again, I'm not a financial advisor, but what the question was, how long before you think you can buy investment properties with crypto? You may not have been on earlier, but I told you, I know a person that did it already. They had Ethereum early. They got to $1.5 million worth of Ethereum. They borrowed 500,000 off of the Ethereum, bought a property in Mexico. The problem was when they borrowed the money off themselves, because Ethereum is still a volatile asset, when the crash happened 2 weeks ago, Ethereum went down in value a lot. So the collateral value, which was 1.5 million when he took out the 500,000 loan, the collateral value became 500,000. So what they did was they took his coins. So he felt like he lost $1.5 million because he saw it at $1.5 million. But at that point, when the collateral came down because the value of the asset went down, he lost his coins. But at least he owned the property. That's, but this is where that stuff will happen more and more as these assets become less and less volatile, so, but that's why I'm telling you, build up now. Build up your asset collateral now. That's why I'm telling you, when anybody asks me what to invest in, I only tell them coins that I know you can borrow off of, because I believe the strategy is accumulate coins that you will be able to use as collateral to live your life. Just like anybody will tell you 20 years ago, buy property, invest in more property. The more property you own, the more financially free you are, right? So now, the more crypto that you own, I believe the more financially free you will be later on, because of the same reasons of real estate. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and thinking. But at the same time, I am doing real property too, the Leisure Fund, link in bio. Come join us for the webinar. We're about to do it soon. But basically, the idea is, I think, to try to be in the most volatile asset and the most safest asset is the way to go. And of course, play in stock too. That's how I'm doing it. I'm in stock in things I can own, like actual stock. Of course, I play around in the stock market too, but I'm trying to get shares of companies in stock, and I'm trying to get real estate properties that I believe people will want to travel to and spend time in. And then I'm making my own crypto bank. That's my strategy for long-term, slow growth to being rich. And of course, in every one of those areas, I'm creating content to help you guys come along for the ride, but also let me know what you see. Like Milan just told me about metaverses. He told you all about metaverses. I hope that makes you guys go into and look at metaverses and say, I think I want to invest in a metaverse. I invested in a metaverse, augmented reality metaverse. I actually bought the block I grew up on in a metaverse, because this metaverse was one of the first metaverses I saw that was an augmented reality metaverse. What that means? That means, let's say you're walking around a block and there's a digital layer to that block. I own the block that I grew up on, right? So I got the block where the Joker steps, in the movie, the last Joker movie, he's on the steps and all these people were going to those steps. I bought that block because I grew up on that block. So now if one day I create a digital experience on that block, when people go, I can sell my products. I can do whatever I want on that block. I could be wrong and nobody ever uses that app, but I made that investment hoping one day it does become worth more. It cost maybe $250 with gas fees all in, or maybe $300. I don't remember. That's not that much, right? Decentraland, when Decentraland came out, you could buy land for $100. Now Milan said $12,000 last time he looked. So that's why I did it. I said, all right, $300, maybe one day it's worth 50,000, 100,000, but who knows? 10, 20, 30 years, $300. Well, let's see. And I believe in augmented reality, so it's another way to support that industry. And if it works, I will be in it anyway. So it was cool. I didn't know about Decentraland when it first came out, so I didn't know to buy. But you see, there's always things happening. Like this week, there was a new metaverse popped up. It was like a RPG game. I forgot the name of it, where you can buy land where if you ever played an RPG game where you walk into the shop and you got to buy potion or a sword, or you have like a place where you can sleep for the night. So basically they were selling these parts of this world, and you can buy actual as NFTs. You can buy these things, and then you can actually make real money by owning a shop in a game. That is pretty freaking cool. You know, especially if you're a gamer. What are you gonna say, Andrew?
Warcraft?
It wasn't Warcraft. It was a new game. It was a new game, brand new. I remember the name of it. But again, the reason why I know about it is because it came out on it was using the Polygon network. I want to ride. Stone, what do you mean? Tell me what you mean. So yeah, I mean, I think again, my main goal here was to like start coming up with little ideas and give you guys little things to like go off and maybe start looking at and thinking about. So when I give you like a recap right now, I think first you got to generate income the rest, as long as possible, because right, we got to live. So first thing I say is, start looking at these opportunities and thinking, how can I generate income with these? Either side hustles, main hustles. Like you said, Moody, I was thinking about buying a place here because then I could sell things. That's kind of what we got to be thinking about, right? Figure out ways to generate income through these opportunities. This is where right now Airbnb is one of the easiest ways to make money. People want to travel, especially now COVID. That's why I'm dealing with the leisure fund with that. But then when you look at crypto and you think about these highs and lows, there are ways to ride those and create your own bank, right? And that's where I'm doing where I'm telling people to join crackingcrypto.club, because we're working on that, right? And then I am working with startups, and I'm taking equity in those startups to work with them. That's me getting shares of a company before most people get it, before equity crowdfunding. And those are my 3 goals. Slow, steady, just work it, and eventually you want to ride the get rich? Good looking. Yeah. Let's do it. You're already in cracking crypto, so you're learning one of the fastest ways, but still slow and steady, because this is a big thing. A lot of people saw the gains of crypto. Even me and all the people I work with, we all were like, "Oh my God, we're out of here. This is in about a month. We're gonna be able to do whatever we want." Then the crash, boom! It all crashed. And we all were like, oh, man. So as fast as it comes is as fast as it can go. That's why I'm kind of trying to come up with strategies of slow gaining wealth. Because if you gain it slow, you lose it slow, right? This crypto thing, a lot of people coming into it thinking it's get rich quick. If you're doing that, you're probably going to lose, right? So part of what I'm saying with the strategy on the crypto side is learn how to ride the wave of buying low, selling a little bit as it goes higher, putting that in your bank, borrowing against it to live your life, or to buy more property, either real estate or crypto, right? That's kind of my goal and what I'm working on right now. Who was about to say something? Anybody?
I think that's a really secure strategy.
Thank you.
The security.
Yeah, I mean that, and to be honest, it's that's why they call it personal finance. I've been changing it every week, right? But I get to do that. It's my personal finance strategy, right? But I'd rather change it every week than not even think about it, right? And most people don't even think about it. They just think they have a job, they're good. But what if I told you, and look what happened last year, your job could go away like this, then what, right? And this is why, again, I create this content. Entrepreneurs and investor connection. I believe we all have to look at ourselves and say, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an investor. Whether I believe it or not, I am. And okay, I don't feel like I have the skills to be whatever one of those you think you're not. How do I get some of them? It doesn't take a long time to become an entrepreneur now. You can literally do something and in a day have something making money online. You don't need a storefront anymore. You don't need a business loan. Literally, you could be an entrepreneur instantly by making a Shopify store, whatever. Investor, you used to have to have a lot of money, find a financial advisor or broker. They will have to want to work with you because of the amount of money you have. Now you could just open Robinhood, Cash App, Coinbase, buy something for $10. No excuse no more. Okay, so what's the missing piece? The information. Even that, you can YouTube all day long. Learn about any kind of investment you want. That's up to you. But again, what the content I'm doing is I'm trying to like take in a lot of the information and let you see what I see with the added layer of innovation, because I do worry about the things like I just told you, where all these positions and roles in industries are just being chopped away slowly. Bam, bam, bam. And eventually your job and role may be on the chopping block. And if you're not looking and say, okay, once that happens, my job is next, scary, you know? And then when you add on inflation that you could already see it, you can see it right now, go outside, spend money, and you're like, wow, I remember that costing a lot less a few months ago. That's going to happen more and more and more and more, no doubt about it, because of how much money the government's printing. So if you don't start understanding all these pieces, I really worry. So that's why I'm creating this. I hope share the information or the videos, whatever you think, with people you care about, that, you know, you want to make sure they're good. I was literally talking to my mom about this yesterday, you know, because my mom is about to retire. She has cash, retirement, but I'm like, I really worry that you are good when you retire, right? Because you got money sitting in a bank that's going to be worth less and less and less. You have retirement funds that are going to be worth less and less and less. You got to come up with a retirement investing strategy. That's the conversation I got to have with my mom and my dad, because let's say you retire with money that you thought was going to last you the rest of your life, and you live an extra 20 years because now medicine got better. You don't want to have to go back to work at 90. Nobody's going to hire you, right? So this is where and imagine that's 60s. Imagine if you're not in your 60s, like how do you got to have things that you look at and you're like, okay, this is going to make me money forever. I'm going to create ways to make money for myself forever outside of my job, outside of my current hustle. Take yourself out of the comfort zone, because if you don't take yourself out, this environment may take you out without you being prepared for it, right? So again, thank you all. Unless there's any final questions or comments, I may end it here. I might take my kids to the beach today. We'll see. Any questions or comments from anybody? All right. So I'll end it here. Thank you guys for coming, for watching. Definitely DM me, questions, text, anything. I'm trying to get everybody along these lines. crackingcrypto.club if you really want to get your bank started. I'm helping people. We got a group of people helping people to get their banks going. We record videos twice a month. Got people watching the videos, making their own banks. That is something you can spend the time finding the information online, or you can come work with us. The Leisure Fund, if you're interested in the real estate stuff, go sign up for the Leisure Fund. When we drop our first webinar, you can be there, understand how we're looking at working with people, and definitely keep following. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and definitely think about some way of investing or creating some type of new revenue stream for yourself this week. Hit me up. Thank you.